Hi everyone and welcome back to the Coaching Observer. My name is Siander Koning and I am here speaking to all rugby enthusiasts, spectators, fans or emerging coaches wanting a bit of an insight from a coach himself. Guys, thanks for joining me and what a bang of a round three that we just had. No massive upsets, however the pools are starting to work out the way that we thought that they would. I think that within this final round of the pool stages, there are some massive decider matches. Obviously, one of the biggest ones is Scotland-Ireland. Can Scotland pull up an upset over there and kick the Springboks out? The other one that I really want to look at is Argentina-Japan. That can also be another upset as well. I don't think Fiji lose to, I think it's Portugal this weekend. If they do somehow, and there's a bunch of points differences and whatnot, then Australia somehow make it in by the skin of their teeth. I don't think that these things are really going to happen. So yeah, this weekend I'm definitely going to be covering Ireland, Scotland. It's going to be another Six Nations banger. I can't wait to see what they do and what they come up with. As usual, I'll be looking at different key strategies. I'll probably focus a bit more on the Scotland side of things, looking at their player composition, looking at things that I would try employ if I was their coach and I was looking at. I think selection is out, so I'll cover a few of the selections and key positions like I always do, and I'll go into my own prediction, and I welcome any feedback from anyone. Guys, just before I continue and dive in like I usually do, I just really want to send out my condolences to Tuvisoa. I have a huge Fijian support at the moment. You guys are loving my channel, sharing it. I really appreciate the support. My condolences go out to Tuvisoa, to Fiji, to the team, to his family. It's a hard-fought week for the loss of his son. And, I really hope it doesn't impact the World Cup too much or him and his gameplay. I know he's staying on, sticking on, really moving forward with that. And it speaks a lot to his character. Yeah, guys. Okay, so let's dive in. So let's look at the different strategies. Okay, so I did say I'm focusing more from a Scotland point of view. I've covered Ireland quite a bit. I don't think the game plan is going to change that much. The way they carry, the way they first phase ball, the way they try and get around, where they need to get around. Now, how does Scotland defend against that? Okay, so we all know first phase ball, scrum lineouts, it's Bondiaki, guys. He's a wrecking ball. He's always getting go forward. He's tough to deal with. You miss a tackle, you're in trouble. Right? Something else you always have to look out for, their wings. Mac Hansen, I think he scored a try every single game. We look at James Lowe is just such an X factor as well. So wings, centers, harsh, right? Forward carries, harsh. So they enjoy playing those systems. Then they do that roll around with the shoulders, playing off the shoulders that I spoke about previously in my previous videos. So there's a handful coming from Ireland, and on their defense, again, it's a really rush defense. They cover space well, and Johnny Sexton plays the boys exactly where they want to play and how they want to play off the boot. Territory is over there. James Lowe is also a phenomenal kicker. The 15 is a phenomenal kicker. Like, Ireland is obviously at their peak. It's a full package team. How can Scotland, work towards just being as dominant or, bringing in those factors that they need to be able to win this? So in my opinion, if I look at the way Scotland's players composition is, it's quite heavy. It's heavy centered. It's body on body, and Ireland doesn't shy away from that contact. So even when we watched Ireland South Africa plays that similar, very contact heavy game. And Ireland, as we all know, we won, right? It's clever points, things like this. Scotland need to manipulate space in certain areas. It's difficult to do because with such a good defensive line setup that Ireland have, to find gaps is very difficult. So one of the biggest factors to me is going to be Finn Russell, and how can he manipulate players playing blind or playing open to be able to start creating those gaps that he wants. So again, I'm doing the whole pointy thing because Finn Russell will show the 9 every single time where he wants the ball to go, even kind of who he wants that ball to go to, if it's that certain pod, if it's that certain player, if it's to him. And then he'll show, just before he gets the ball, he'll tell this player, like, listen, the ball's coming to you, and then try run this line. And that's kind of the way they attack. Okay, so Scottish attack, all around Finn Russell. Now, Ireland is going to look at that. How do they protect Finn Russell? How do they allow Finn Russell to play the game that he wants to play? Now, that's where the big heavy forwards come in. So obviously, they're going to be crashing up a few balls. They also play that, very similar system. It's almost a 4-man pod. So it's a 4-4. I don't think it's quite a 1-3-3-1. What I mean with this, guys, is it's all about the forwards, right? How do the forwards set up and how does the backline set up behind them? So if it's a 4-4, it means that the pod setup is all 4 forwards, right? And then the other pod setup is also 4 forwards. So you've got a head carrier, you've got a plus, you've got a minus, and then you got kind of your tail end as well, who can interlink with the back line. They don't quite do the tail end. They kind of just set up as 3. Something that they do quite interestingly is they enjoy skipping the first 2 carries. It goes to the third guy, especially if the gap is there. Watch how Finn Russell does that. Finn Russell will make sure almost that his screen runs 2 of them, passes in front of them to the third guy, and then he kind of gets into that space. It's a wonderful technique, but he's really good at it. It doesn't quite happen in a lot of teams because, it's very hard for those first 2 guys to not try and get that ball if they understand where that ball's going. So yeah, the way they need to attack, they need to give Finn Russell as much time on the ball as possible. Ireland's going to try contact that, right? Ireland will probably hard press, probably put 2 guys on Finn and try close down Finn, because we all know no Finn, no game. Okay. Something else I want to see on attack, Finn Russell, and he does it so brilliantly. I mean, we all dubbed it the Finn Russell kick, is that hard grubber through to the outline, looking for the 50-22. I think what I'm going to see from Finn Russell, if we break up the field in, I think it's 4 sections, let's call the red zone, right? Red zone is your own 22, danger zone, don't want to play there. Okay, exit. Easy strategy, 1-2 phases, exit, open up the angle. Second phase is that next from 22 to 10 and even a bit further towards the halfway, right? So I'd even say like 5 meters from our 22, it's still exit strategy, or it's kick quite deep down. Now that orange area is kind of between 10 and 10. Obviously that's the 50-22 zone, or that's the, let's put up a contestable and see what happens. This is what Scotland will do. So watch in the 22, good exit plays. If it's off the 9, if it's off the 10, that's how they're going to exit. Enter into that orange zone between 10 and 10, guys. It's a 50-22 try, right? Or it's that hard grubber that I just spoke about with Finn, or it's going to be a contestable, and let's see, boys, can we or can we not? Because if the contestable goes the other way, we've set the defense line. If they kick it back, it's just going to be a bit of ping pong, that's fine. But now, how do they attack in the 22? Guys, they love going towards Duan van der Merwe. They work into that blind side, right? So Duan's going to sit on that far left over there. What they're going to do is hit 1 or 2 phases with forwards coming in, and then Finn Russell links. Finn Russell links, comes behind that ruck, plays, and tries to put Duan in space. Duan comes on the short lines a lot. They kind of don't even use the forwards in that space. It's usually 2 backline players, or Duan with Finn with like another backline player. And you'll see the ball skips, the backline player goes to Duan. If Duan crashes and breaks, it's an easy offload. Or they just kind of try and use that momentum off him. They'll play into the open again, 1 or 2 phases, and go back to Duan again and try, just completely utilize his strength, his speed, and all of this as well. Then something else I've seen as well is quick hands from Scotland. So when it's on, Finn Russell won't even give it to his first or second receiver. He skips over to 13, he skips over to 15, linking or across to the wing, just to try and get into that space as quick as possible, utilize it, a bit of interplay, and then move forward. So in the 22, that's kind of what I see. So 22 to the 5 meter, it's either blindside play, right, or it's a skip pass, try and get into that open side as fast as I can to that wing, try exploit that space, because maybe, they're expecting a bit of a kick, so the wings will sit a bit deeper. And then inside the 5, guys, they use the typical brand of forward rugby. As soon as it's the 5, it's phase play, until there's 12 or 13 phases, or a penalty advantage. Penalty advantage, again, probably a contestable or a short line or an inside line from Duan van der Merwe, short line from 12 or 13, just to try break. But it's pretty much just to pick up and go with the forwards until something comes. And the forwards usually score, guys. I mean, they are big, they are heavy, really good body positioning, really well disciplined around ruck time, especially when they enter that 5. Okay, so I think that's kind of how I see how Scotland is going to attack in the different areas. Remember, easy exits, red zone, orange zone. It's going to be contestables, or look for the 50-22. Okay, a lot of teams are doing that. And then enter your 22, blindside, 1, 2 crashes, open side. Try use Duan van der Merwe, get into that 5 meter space. Forwards just build phases. If it's a penalty, they'll try something sneaky. No penalty, they're just going to carry on building those phases, and with their discipline will probably score. Now, can they get into those areas? That's the big thing. Defensively, guys, Ireland, again, first phase, ball, Bondiaki, right? Huge smash from a 12, or if it's not off him, Van der Vliet and them are running on that first phase as well from a line out. It's smash and grab rugby. Can the 12 and 13 of Scotland really take him on? This is another question. I'm hoping to see that in general open play, they're trying to put a bit more of their 6, 7, 8 within the middle of the field to take care of Bondiaki and his hits. Finn is only going to make so many hits in that channel, guys. I think Finn Russell doesn't want to be making the hits. Bondiaki is going to be wanting to run onto his channel in between 10 and 12. He won't go to 12 and 13. And I don't know if they can really withstand the pressure. For me, the backline weaknesses of Scotland is not having that like centre pairing that pairs well with Finn. I think, if you had to put Finn Russell into a box squad or into even the Irish squad or the 13 of Ireland, still one of my top rated players, but Finn Russell just needed better pairing. It's almost like Dan Bigger as well. These brilliant 10s within the Six Nations teams just sometimes don't have the certain players to complement them, and this is definitely for me within the Scottish squad. So you'll see the ball's always getting to the same guys, like the Duans, the Darcy, the blonde guy. They're kind of always going towards their players. Guys like Tui Piloto just doesn't quite give us that element that everyone thought he would. Guys like Hugh Jones has really come into it, but it's not as good as Finn Russell. So yeah, I think that's a big thing. I know I went back into attack now. If I look again defensively, I need forwards to help them, work on Bondiaki. I put 6, 7, 8 over there. The other guys you really need to take care of. I know I always go on about him. A lot of people kind of don't always like him. James Lowe, got to make sure. I think Darcy Graham can take him. I think Duan van der Merwe. I think the wing situation is fine. I think it's quite a nice actually contest of the wings that they have. The ball's going to get to the wings a lot. They'll use them. But the forward battle is going to be the big thing. Now, Scotland, guys, I need Scotland to be masters of the dark side. I need them at ruck time to play every single dirty trick, every single great trick, because as soon as Ireland has go forward ball or they can have Johnny Sexton with time on the ball, it's going to be an issue. So again, guys, I think I brought this up with the other game that I covered where Italy needed to slow down New Zealand ball and they just couldn't. They just didn't contest the rucks the way they needed to, didn't protect the rucks the way they needed to, and New Zealand completely destroyed them. Now, Scotland needs to game manage. If they can slow down those rucks, play the grey areas, slow down players so they aren't in time for their pods, all legal, by the way, right? So trying to grab a shirt here and there, trying to just lay on a player, don't keep him in. But there's a lot of grey sides to that type of sport that these Oaks can really use to try slow down that Irish side. So I really want to see that. I want to see them slow ball. I want them to see going backwards. Defensively, I wouldn't shoot up, right? Obviously, Bondiaki, got to mark that guy. But if you shoot up, guys, Johnny Sexton's going to find the space. He does, right? And he's got phenomenal guys who run off into that space, and I want them to set a good defensive line and not try push up. Also because I think it's going to be a typical Six Nations clash, right? If it's a good game, it's not going to be high scoring. It's going to be very physical. There's so much history between these two teams as well. They know each other very well. I mean, Six Nations, the Europe champs, everything. They're always playing similar players against each other, even in the same team in some circumstances as well. So let's see what they come up with. Can they set that strong defensive line, not push too hard, right? And then be very tactically sound at the back. Okay, Duan van der Merwe under a high ball, not as good as James Lowe to me. All right, and then I think Darcy's good underneath the high ball over there. I think it's a great thing to watch him play and the way Ireland might cover that space, how they want to attack into that space. I think Darcy is pretty good. Someone that we are definitely missing is Hogg. Stuart Hogg announced his retirement just before the World Cup. Said that he had too much time away from his family, which I completely understand. But the timing of it. And Stuart Hogg was the staple to Scottish rugby, right? He was solid at the back. He had great decision making, a great boot, and I think that they're lacking that at 15. And I think Ireland is going to exploit that. So can the back three of the game link well with each other? Can they support each other? And I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of cover tackling happening here with guys like Bondiaki and stuff like that. So defensively, solid line, slow down ruck ball, slow down ball, right? Cover space well and mark the guys that they need to mark. The guys like Bondiaki, the James Lowe's, kind of repeating myself all the time, try close down Johnny Sexton. Do not give him time on the ball. I'd really try put pressure on Johnny Sexton. And then something else I would try to do is just ball manage that ball, guys. If you play in the right areas, you keep the ball away from the danger guys. Like it's quite a consistency of how they need to play. So it goes for a lot of teams. I mean, if you are going into a game and you're the underdog, I did this multiple times this year. I think that when my team, my club over here that I coach at was playing universities which are, have always been renowned and the club fears them and this, we just game manage and you take ball away, you create pressure, you create doubt, and your team starts rallying off of that. It all starts coming together, right? Like really just divine pudding, it just all comes together. I promise you that. So I want Scotland to do that, manage the game. I do see a Six Nations clash, but with quite a bit of points. I think first half, probably a try apiece, maybe 2 tries Ireland. I hope that Scotland can keep within it with a few penalties. Ireland can be caught offside with a very strong defensive line that they come up. There's also spaces that Russell will exploit with the 50-22 or getting his boys into line. And Ireland loves digging at ruck time. So can Scotland protect the rucks, force that penalty and get points off of that, and play as clean as possible within their half or within their 22 and really try not concede silly points, silly penalties, those very difficult, nervy mistakes that players make. I want to see them kind of be the best Scottish team that we can see. So, yeah, guys, there's a bit of the strategy, a lot more from the Scottish side that I think that they should look at and follow. I think that that's kind of what they will do as well. It'll be interesting to see. And yeah, let's look at that game. Let's talk about team selection. Okay, so if I was Andy Farrell, I think I would have gone with a bit different. Teams are out at the moment, so if you haven't seen the lineups, jump onto the World Rugby website or whatever you want. Go look at those lineups. If I was Andy Farrell, I'd rest some of the guys who I really want in the quarterfinal. In the past, for me, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, a lot of Six Nations teams, bar England and France, really lack big depth in their squads, right? I think Scotland isn't quite there at the moment. Ireland is in a much better place, but a really big injury can cause upset in quarterfinal and semi-final and really, put their jeopardy for the final at stake. So if I was Andy Farrell, I would definitely give guys like Johnny Sexton a rest. I see he's going full out with his squad. I mean, Van der Vlier's in, O'Mahony is in. I'd maybe bring these guys off the bench. Furlong is in as well. I also saw that Bondi Aki is starting. So, he's going with a full force squad. I understand it. I don't think that his quarterfinals is really in that jeopardy. So I would have rested guys, would have managed guys a bit differently, but I'm not there. I don't, maybe I'm not feeling those pressures. It's just, I enjoy player management and rotations of players as well. Scotland, obviously full force. This is make or break for Scotland. I'm really enjoying what dynamic Finn Russell brings, the way he completely marshals on the field, guys. He's a real general. Forwards, backs, he directs. If you guys see, he's always pointing exactly who he wants where and what he wants to do with what. And he has this very difficult ability to be able to see things, action the task, and actually let that come off. It's a very difficult skill to have. The best 10s in the world have that. And if you just see, he actually almost looks like someone with the orchestra just in front, and he's just, pulling strings of his backs and forwards. It's beautiful to watch. He gets it right. He puts boys into space. I just really enjoy watching Finn Russell. Other players to look out for, obviously, guys. South African-born players are in there. Duane van der Merwe is rated even by his teammates and by the Irish. He's definitely a factor. Okay, big ball carrier, good feet, for his weight, runs quick. He's definitely someone they're gonna go to and someone that Ireland has to take care of, as well as Finn Russell, as I mentioned over there. Another guy who's been racking up tries and he's really quite a quick wing and stuff is Darcy as well. I think it's Graham Darcy. He's been playing phenomenally. He's really come out of his shell as well. He's been exciting to watch and he's really finishing up those tries. If we're looking at their loosies such as Ritchie and Dempsey, their loose forwards, these guys really get dirty within that rucks. Good turnovers, big hits, big tackles, big carries as well. It quite matches similarly to Ireland with Van der Vlier and O'Mahony and them. I think it's quite a dog-eat-dog battle. I'll definitely be covering that in key positions, as well as 10s, because Finn Russell and Johnny Sexton is just two of those players that I have to. So yeah, selections. I'm surprised by the Irish selection. That's really a tongue twister. By the Irish selection, because I didn't think they're going to go so full force at Scotland. Scotland, no real big changes, nothing too interesting. I really hope that they bring the game that they want and that they can. Okay, so I just want to touch on set pieces. Mostly the lineouts and scrums, as always. Guys, I think teams are very finely matched in this area. I think the Scottish maul is very strong. I think the Irish maul is very strong. I think the jumpers are very good. To me, Ireland against South Africa, it wasn't good enough. They weren't clinical in the 22. They made too many mistakes. I promise you, they went back to the camp. They are working on those things. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more clinical, a lot more accurate line-out from Ireland, although Scotland will contest it. Now, how does Ireland also stop the Scottish mauls? It's very strong. It's very good. I think if they can retain and really just peel off those mauls, they'll do much better. Again, guys, I'm not seeing it enough. I want teams to create that second maul. I think, I can't remember if Tonga did it against South Africa the last weekend. I want to see that secondary maul come in, guys. And it's just basically from the top, first receiver pops it down to the second, or from the back receiver pops it forward to the first receiver, creating that second maul. I'm seeing too many penalties costed for the teams at more time, guys. The two front, the pillars closing down that space, it's penalty, it's truck and trailer. I see too many balls being lost at that. I'm seeing too many stops and then guys swimming through the ruck. So the same thing that happened, Ireland, South Africa, I don't know, it wasn't Van der Fleer, just completely swimming up and then stopping and then just laying down, right? So how well can they stop swimming? And I just want to see the nines use the ball better, because as soon as the ref calls it once, right, just guys, get the ball out, play a phase or two. You guys can come back. The penalty will come as well. I don't want them to milk it. I got a feeling that the teams who are busy milking those mauls, they're losing too many ball. They're losing so much possession, then they're losing territory, and they are relieving pressure. So I don't want to see that. Scrum time is going to be a battle, guys. If we're looking at South African born, the Skuman against Todd Furlong, it's going to be a battle up front there. I think that scrums, similar to South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, South Africa as well, I don't think we're going to have the biggest dominant team with regards to scrum. It should be a bit of a stalemate as well. Scrums have been quite consistent throughout the World Cup with regards to the top tier nations. I think that I haven't seen a complete bully of a scrum at the top nations compared to, if I think about South Africa, England 2019 final, South Africa completely dominated that scrum, right? It was a headache for English coaching staff, for English players. I haven't seen that yet. When these teams are meeting and colliding, I think France did it a bit against New Zealand, but it's not as dominant as in like, oh guys, we're going to get a penalty every single time. It's our go-to, it's our go-to, it's our go-to. I haven't seen it that much. So a bit of a stalemate again. How are they going to manipulate space, or what are their moves off of scrums? That's the biggest thing. And how do they defend against those open play moves and scrums as well? So yeah, I think that's the big things over there with regards to the set pieces and how are they going to work, and can Ireland be a bit more clinical with regards to that? That's a big thing for me on how big that margin starts getting of Ireland going ahead or not. Next up, key positions. It's going to be quite short and sweet. I think that some of the most biggest key positions in this game is obviously fly-off. Johnny Sexton versus Finn Russell. Yes, I'm biased towards Finn Russell. Love the way he plays, guys. Similar game styles. But Finn Russell brings a bit more of a flair. I've covered I think both of them before. Really good on the boot, really good generals on attack, knowing exactly where they want to play and how they want to play. And they both coordinate their attack and defense quite well on that, although both of them aren't in charge of the defense on their backline. They can both kick, they can both pass. Their goal scoring, so for penalties, for things like this, is extremely accurate as well. I think it's quite a dead even clash. I think Johnny Sexton and Finn Russell both have similar experiences as well. Johnny Sexton is a little bit more on the grey side compared to Finn Russell, but solid player all the way around. I think the only thing that can really come out of these two is how are they defended against? How does Ireland close down Finn Russell, not give him time on the ball or that depth? Same goes for Scotland. How does Scotland try take Johnny Sexton out of the game, right? To not give him time on the ball as well, to put pressure. He tackles well, right? But can someone shock him a bit as well? So that's the questions for me around the fly-offs, is more what are teams going to do to defend them? Because we know what type of brand these guys are bringing, how consistent they are, and yeah, it's just two of the world's best fly-offs that both the teams completely depend on. Without these two playmakers, the teams aren't the best. I saw an article come out, I think, on Rugby 365, asking, can Ireland even win a World Cup without Johnny Sexton? So that's a good one. Same goes for Scotland. I think, when the Finn Russell era goes, just like the Stuart Hogg, who's coming up? Who have they got? Where other countries that fly off, like it's very similar, guys, fly offs. But New Zealand, these teams, they have depths of fly offs. Even if we look now at the Wales team, we saw Dan Biggar go off and Anscombe just come on and completely, do that. They have that depth. But I just don't feel that if Sexton goes off, that depth comes in, right? So there's an issue over there. And the same for Russell. If Russell gets injured or goes off or whatever, they just don't have that same punch at 10. So yeah, two of the biggest elements of the game is the fly-offs. How do they work them? How do they close them down? How do they defend against them? Just one more key position I'll be looking at is that of centre, 12s. Okay, so we have Tuipulotu on Scotland, and we have Bondi Aki on Ireland. Like I said previously, I think this is quite favoured to Bondi Aki. Tuipulotu didn't quite bring for Scotland what we thought that he would, right? So we've seen the Islanders in various countries at 12. Bondi Aki, Tuipulotu, if we look at Tuolangi at England, these teams love big 12 carries, okay? And that's what the Islanders bring you. I mean, think about Nonu back in the day. I mean, massive carry, 12 centre, like always go forward ball. It's the brand that they play. So I really think that wrecking ball at 12 is big. This one is going to be skewed to Ireland. I think Bondi Aki, like I said, he's peaking, right? So he's getting the go forward ball, he's offloading, he's hard to bring down. Can Tuipulotu mark him? In my opinion, I don't think so. They're going to need help. Like I said, I hope they're bringing in some of the loose forwards to take care of Bondi Aki. On the flip side, if Tuipulotu is busy carrying, does he bring that same element? I don't think so. I don't think he has that much impact. I think Finn Russell uses him almost as a bit of a scapegoat, or as a bit of a, we call it magic man, is when you're missing him a lot. So he keeps running a lot of lines just to attract the defender, but you're never really using him. I feel he just loses too much ball. So yeah, I think it's a key position for Ireland, and negatively a key position for Scotland, because they're going to need to manage that a bit better or more than expected. Right? Yeah. So unfortunately, I love centres. As you guys know, I'm quite a Bondi Aki fan as well. It's going to be a smash and grab for me on that side, and I just want to see how Scotland's going to manage Bondi Aki defensively. The last key position I want to talk about is flanks. Jamie Ritchie and Van der Fleer. So very similar style of game, good carrying, lots of tackling, a bit of an enforcer mode over there. I really enjoy the brand that these Lucies play, and it's fun to watch. It's not fun to be against. They get very good turnovers, both of them. They play hard rugby, they play straight rugby, and the commentator is often speaking about these players. Josh Van der Fleer got Player of the Year last year. I think Jamie Ritchie, as captain as well, takes a lot of that on his shoulders, and he does play well. So I think these two playing a bit of that fetcher role, big carry role, and a bit of that enforcer role really speaks to the team. So I want to see statistically, if we put these guys on paper next to each other, with carries, with meters made, with balls stolen, with any of these type of things, I think that these two can make or break the game within the loose that I was speaking about. Slowing down the ball for Scotland or protecting the ball against Scotland, these two players are going to have some of the biggest impact within the ruck scenarios, and that's my opinion. Also, these two players find themselves at the right place at the right time, especially with regards to defensively. They read the game very well. So even if it's a mismatch, they are covering space, they are cross-covering, cross-tackling, doing all of these things to assist their backline, because, essentially they're almost like, the best combo, a hybrid player between a backline and a forward that they're getting. I want to see how well they're going to defend, what their turnovers are. It's going to be a telltale for the game with regards to the loose that I was talking about. the better Ireland are at those rucks, the faster the ball gets, the more points they're going to score. The better Scotland is as protecting or slowing down, the points suddenly slow down, and so does momentum for them. And these two guys are both the key elements of that type of play for both sides as well. Great. So yeah, at the end of the game, let's look at the stats of those two and let's see if we match them up where who won that battle. I'm sure it's going to be quite narrow. The last thing I want to chat about is the prediction. It's a tough one, guys. I'm always an underdog fan. Although I'm South African and I obviously understand like what's at stake here, us not going through to the quarterfinal. I don't think Scotland has it to pull off, right? So if we look at the history, there's just not enough upsets from Scotland. They aren't the team to cause the upset. They're not the Fiji against England. They're not the upset team, right? So it's going to take a hell of a lot for them to cause the upset. I can't see it. The prediction got me a bit back if I think about my Italy-New Zealand game. I need teams to be more competitive and fight more. So again, if Scotland are able to do some of the things I'm talking about and slow down that ball, it could be a close game. I just got a feeling that they don't have that longevity in them, especially if I look at the team that Ireland brought up. I thought it would be a bit of a quieter team, but it's not. So with saying that, I think Ireland are going to win comfortably over here. It's going to be a 4-try win. So ahead by 28 points. I see quite a big one. I think at the end, second half, they're going to start running away with it. I'm going to call about a 42-18, somewhere around there, 42-18 to Ireland, with a bonus point win. And yeah, them going through top of the log. So yeah, guys, if you have any predictions yourself, if you disagree with the predictions or anything like this, pop it down in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it. So guys, that's the end of my video. Thanks so much for joining me again on this journey. Thanks so much for the support that you guys bring to the Coaching Observer. I hope that you enjoy the content. We are final round of World Cup. It's been intense. I hope that the insights are enjoyable for you guys. I really hope that we, get exciting games this weekend. I've been enjoying the World Cup. I think it's one of the biggest World Cups where it's so tight. It's not run away with a lot of teams. The pools are quite evenly balanced because some of the teams have really caught up. And yeah, so it's been good, guys. I appreciate you to everyone who's following me, constantly giving me feedback, constantly being supportive. I appreciate you guys. I really want to start expanding the platform. I need a bit more interaction. So I want coaches who are young, who are trying to, go out there and coach and have a passion for it. Start engaging with me, guys. It's open up a platform. It's open up a dialogue where emerging coaches can chat to me, ask me questions. I love if you oppose some of my views and tell me like, how are you thinking? So the biggest thing for me as a coach is you are always learning. You have to be as a sponge. Any coach that approaches you or chat to you, you can take even the smallest thing, from any coaches. And I really enjoy just, having the dialogue, having the discussion and just always learning as we go. So yeah, let's open up the platform, guys. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the final round and yeah, playoff rugby coming up, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.